Welcome to another episode of Top Corner Podcast. Today's host is Julian. Julian, how you doing today?
Still sick, man. I don't know what's going on. Yes, and your name is Jordan. How are you, Jordan?
I never introduced myself,
No,
which
it's
is
fine.
weird. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. I'm always doing great. So
It's always good when you're not sick.
Yeah, I can get sick. I got African genes, so
Oh,
yeah, I can get none of anything that happens in the world.
lucky, I guess. Yeah.
But last week was a pretty interesting week with a lot of Napoli in the news.
Yeah.
With
Oh, my
Osimhen.
God. Yeah.
So what did you think about it? And I don't know, for those who didn't watch, Osimhen missed the penalty, and Napoli's social media thought it was a really cool idea to post a video of Osimhen and making fun of him. I think they had like a coconut coming up and they had some weird sounds. I don't know, man.
Yeah, so I don't know what that means. I'm not on the internet on TikTok because I'm not 9 years old. But also, I understand that there's a place for social media in adults' lives. That style of humor that they put on their official page was not an adult style of humor.
Yeah.
He missed a penalty. Boo-hoo. He was your top goal scorer and the main reason that you won a title for the first time in 30 years last season.
Yeah.
So why would you do that? That's the dumbest decision that I think I've seen any club make in the treatment of their players. Like, you should understand, as an adult running a social media platform for a major organization, that page is basically just there for you to post highlights of your players and interview clips with your players. I don't understand where the sense of humor comes from.
Yeah.
It's absolutely ridiculous to me.
Well, if you want to be funny, and if you want to do all this thing, it means, but you're not mocking, you're not taking a shot at your own players or
Right.
your own organization, because at the end of the day, you're a company, so you have to act in the interest of your company.
Yeah.
So the players and everyone engaged, be it up to the janitor or whatever, right? It's like the same thing as Brighton did on, I think it was TikTok or Instagram. They had a funny video of Onana and they said something about when you're Onana, with the goal that I forgot who scored that goal, and it just passed. It was just passing through, just near Onana's arm, and they were making fun of him. That's different because Brighton's taking a shot. They're miming, doing memes and whatever.
Yeah.
But of the opposition team, and they, at the end of the day, this is live. This is football. This is competition. So you make fun of what you think should be funny, but not of your own. That's super disrespectful.
I would even disagree that like, it's the club shouldn't be making fun of anybody, I think.
Because they're not TikTok guys.
They're not TikTok guy. Like, and I'll say this as politely as I can, and this truly is as politely as I can put it. Social media is for children. Social media is for teenagers because they don't have jobs and responsibilities and skills to contribute to the world and society. So they spend most of their time communicating with each other, and they create this sort of amalgamation of personality, so they become this one gray blob of self. I think it's a very destructive mentality to have. So not only are you engaging in social media in a way that doesn't benefit your club, you're actually sabotaging your club from the inside. But I will say I saw nothing but good stuff, and I'm not saying that there wasn't anything bad either, but the Napoli supporters seem to have been like, what the fuck was that? Everybody kind of collectively, except for the 9-year-olds. The 9-year-olds were out there. And I will say again, that wasn't the job for a club to make fun of players on TikTok. That's for children.
Yes.
Unaffiliated with the club. Like, go be a 9-year-old boy somewhere else.
Yeah.
I don't know who was in charge of that. And like the whole department doesn't need to be fired.
Yeah, but the whole people in charge of the TikTok needs to be fired. Because guess what happened? I took a video, I did a meme, then it went through the review board. Unless there's someone that just posts stuff without any review, because this is a big company. Companies don't just go ahead, oh, let me just post this.
Right.
It's not your TikTok, right?
It probably didn't go through as many people as you think, though.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that it did. Like, multiple people had to have signed off on this.
Yeah.
Realistically, though, I would say probably 2 people.
Okay.
I would say the person that created it and that showed that, and you said, like, to put it under a review, someone else looked at it over the shoulder, a superior looked over the shoulder and went, okay, cool. But realistically, even people higher up in the social media department probably didn't even see that.
Yeah.
Because they're delegating other things, right? It's sort of like a retail store, like your district manager. he doesn't know every single thing that the store manager is doing.
Mm-hmm.
He knows enough.
Yeah.
And then the store manager is the middleman between the district manager and the employees. So one of the employees did something stupid, and the store manager covered for it, but the district manager doesn't need to get fired because, as far as I know, not everybody in the department saw that, so not everybody needs to go. But it was such an obtuse, ridiculous burial of a very good player, and a player that was not that inclined to stay in the first place. So now he's really looking elsewhere. So then I guess where
I wonder if this will be the catalyst to him saying, "Hey, I'm probably not really appreciated last year. I was really good, but some may argue, but not me. I think he should have won the best player of Napoli and probably the Serie A. But that's just my opinion, I guess. And this might be the turning point, right? The water that has been over the glass of water, or whatever. And he's like, hey, they don't appreciate me. Should I be shopping elsewhere?
Yeah.
Is this the situation that will get him out of Napoli? Well, I don't know yet.
Well, he's played well. I mean, look, they've played 2 games since that whole deal, and he scored 2 goals in 2 games. So
yeah,
I mean, he's been very mature about that. He's played his game. He hasn't thrown a fit when I would have still said, if he had thrown a fit and said, I'm not playing anymore, like I would have said, okay, no, you still need to play.
I think he said he's not taking penalties anymore. Or he didn't take the penalties
That's
in
fine.
the other games.
Yeah, but he's still working hard. He's still playing. He's still doing his role, and he's still playing well. And that's the best way to get back at your own club. Is to play well for them. It's such a stupid thing. Like I still can't believe
he issued out a statement He issued out a statement through Fabrizio. Well, I read this on Fabrizio Romano, and if you read something from him, it is what it is. Yeah. So, Napoli released official statement in response to. No, this is the official statement of Napoli in response to the Victor Osimhen case first, and they said this is Napoli. Calcio Napoli, wishing to avoid any exploitation of the issue, point out that Napoli never wanted to offend or mock Victor Osimhen, who is treasurer of this club. As proof of that, during the summer training retreat, the club firmly rebuffed every offer that was received for the striker's transfer abroad. Mm-hmm. Social media, in particular TikTok, has always used an expressive form of language with a light heart and creativity.
Shut the fuck
without wanting to, as in the case with Osimhen as protagonist, have any intention of insult or derision. In any case, if Victor perceived any offense towards him, this was not what the club intended.
Shut up.
But this is not an apology, though. It has nothing to do. Hey, we are very sorry. I mean, you don't have to write all these words to say how you feel if you're really sorry about it. This is more like, come on, dude, just take it like a man. Get over yourself.
Well, that's exactly what it was, and I like that they tried to say, well, meme humor has such a rich history.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, like I said, this shit is for 9-year-olds.
Yeah.
This is for children. The high-pitched, squeaky voice. Like, if I go to a family reunion, there's like 4 or 5 little 6-year-old rugrats running around with little plastic tablets, and they're watching this stupid shit, and I'm like, who in the world would think that this is funny aside from 6-year-olds? It's that. It's the same kind of TikTok humor. It's the chipmunk squeaky voice talking really fast. And these kids fucking love it. Not grown adults in charge of millions of dollars worth of social media views and advertisement endorsements. You're absolutely ridiculous. And you can't say that it's Italian humor. I've watched plenty of Italian films in my life, and they're actually pretty funny. This shit is not funny. This is what happens when some form of humor online becomes global.
Yeah.
And every nation, every culture thinks that there's a variation of humor in this social media style of communication. No, you're all saying the same dumb shit, and you all sound equally immature when you defend the value of memes and social media humor. Morons.
Yeah, but that goes to our question, right? So if this is gonna be a turning point for him to be out, what team will be best for him? Is it Arsenal? Is it Chelsea? Is it Real Madrid? what team do you think will fit best with the way he plays? Personally, I wouldn't want him to go to Real.
You would not.
The reason, I won't.
You're still assuming Mbappe is going.
The reason is because if Real Madrid is still planning to pursue Mbappe, that means we have two potential 9 position to compete, and you have Osimhen competing with Mbappe. The thing is that with that, it doesn't really go well. Then the other bad, in my opinion, the other bad thing about this is we will have either one player will take over, but I guarantee you it won't be Osimhen. With how Mbappe is at this point of his career, players like him usually sign contract of like Cristiano back in the days.
Yeah.
You cannot bench him. It don't matter.
Yeah. Well, and again, and I do think that Mbappe is still destined to go to Real Madrid. I feel like I'm like the only person that's worried based on evidence that's been given in the past. What, like, he said he does not want to play number 9. But that's the only option for him at Real Madrid. Is he going to all of a sudden be happy to play number 9 there? I just don't get. I don't get why we think that he's not going to be wanting to take Vinicius Junior's spot on that left wing because he likes it so much.
Well, it depends how the coach will want to do things. Right? I don't know if 9 or winger will be best for him.
But Mbappe has shown that he doesn't care what the coach wants at times. That's what I'm saying. Like, like everything that he's done at PSG. And PSG is not on the same level of quality and history of Real Madrid. And everything that you're saying, like, it makes sense for other players that haven't done what Mbappe has done at PSG, thrown all these fits, straight up said, I don't want to play that position, I want this. That's a big no-no. You kind of play where the coach wants. That's a conversation for you and the coach. You don't put that in the media.
Yeah.
And what's to say that he doesn't do that at Madrid? I just don't understand why he's shown evidence that he's done it. Why won't he do that again?
But I feel like Real Madrid might be different because of, first of all, you're going to be playing other Ancelotti or whoever takes over, right? But Real Madrid,
which we will talk about.
Yeah, Real Madrid is different from your PSG. The way they run things is a little different. And Mbappe is sort of the main guy. And whatever he says, he is practically the owner. Whatever he says, they tend to go with it. But if he goes to Real Madrid, he's going to understand what is coming or what he has to do or what he's coming to provide. And it depends if they're really getting him for a 9. Personally, the way it is set up until we see till the end of the season, and I guarantee everyone, and I don't care about what people think, the Mbappe's talent is not something you can contain, and it's not something that you will be able to say, hey, we think if he doesn't play at 9, he will be able to play at on the wing, or if he doesn't do vice versa, he will play. He can be able to play both. The reason, the question is, if he says I'm not playing 9 and you still want him, are you willing to say, hey, we're gonna drop Vinicius? Personally, I would still. It depends how things go, but in terms of versatility, being versatile, Mbappe is much more versatile than the whole attacking front line of Real Madrid.
True.
Right?
But he has no loyalty.
Well, I don't think his goal is to be loyal. This is not a gang.
Then why did they have that whole talk like 3 years ago at PSG? No. That's what that whole contract was based around. No. So like, if I'm Real Madrid, I see that and I think you don't get any leverage here. Yeah, you are a player, and that's
depending how they go about it, though.
Yeah, and
if you go about it and say, hey, oh, Hail Mary, this is our greatest player or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, he has leverage. But if you understand that I am Real Madrid and I'm trying to win, and this is the team I want to set up, and I want you here to play my 9. But I feel like this will be different from a traditional pure 9. The reason is because most of the attacking line, they are really good technically. And addition to Mbappe means technically they can be good. And I feel like, and I will say this, and when we even go talk about Real Madrid, I feel like, well, I'll keep this for then. Let's come back to the point. The point is that, right? I wouldn't want Osimhen to go there. Actually, I prefer Osimhen playing at Arsenal. I feel like that will fit best for him, and I feel like with that, Arsenal might have a better chance. Competing with the greats.
And we can segue into the Ivan Toney discussion straight through this as well, because Arsenal is they need a number 9 player.
Yeah,
they need that greatly. And that's the that's the position that they are missing the most.
Yeah.
I don't see an incentive for any striker really to go to a Chelsea
No.
or to go to a Manchester United because
Sure.
especially a Manchester United, because Chelsea is just a mess altogether right now.
United, I can, but I
They've
feel
already
like,
got a new forward though. Their problems with
that's
the
true.
midfield, and if you are a striker
Yeah.
and you see that, you're like, they've already got a new kid. Do I think that an Osimhen or a Tony could beat out
that's true.
Højlund? Yes, he could. But you've either played against them or you've watched them play where it's like, it doesn't matter what I bring to the table, they're having issue feeding me the ball. So I can't score that much if I'm not getting the right
that's
service.
That's the problem of Højlund. They can't play with Højlund yet. Not that even Højlund. They can't play with a striker that requires people to serve him.
Yeah.
Just because of how they play, they're so selfish. And
Yeah.
and the one thing I wanted to say about Osimhen, I know a lot of people were like, it's a racial thing and it's not and whatnot. But one thing people have to understand too, for Nigerians that were talking a lot on social media, coconut sometimes in Nigeria means you're treating this person a fool, empty head. And that's why people did not understand a lot of passion behind it. For them, it's just not a word. So that's
You're basically saying that they're thoughtless.
Yeah, you're basically saying Osimhen is thoughtless, or he's a fool, or he's useful. He's useless.
Right. Now, and I don't want to get into this part too much.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a lot of merit. That's also not racial connotation, saying that someone doesn't have any thoughts in their head.
No.
So that's also like, was it the dumbest thing that the institution could have done? Yes. Did they make him look foolish? I don't think they made him look foolish. I think that they made a stupid joke. They made themselves look foolish. I don't think that what they did made Osimhen look bad. It's just it's an insult.
Yeah, but
Like,
don't mock your players.
No, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, he doesn't look bad because he missed a penalty. How many people have missed penalties?
Yeah.
That's nothing crazy. If it was some sort of Harry Maguire slip and fall, or like, I get that, and like that makes your player look bad. An attacker missing a penalty, that's nothing new. That's nothing crazy. It's just that you showed disrespect to your player.
Maguire has done a lot of things in United, but he's never Phil Jones never been made fun of by their club. And this is Osimhen release statement, which I think with this I'm kind of in the middle, so I'm confused. And with this, I don't know if he will be willing to leave in January. Or he's just gonna overstay his fulfill his contract.
Yeah.
So he said this: coming to the city of Naples, whatever, in 2020 was a wonderful decision for me. The people of Napoli have shown me so much love and kindness, and I will not allow anyone to come between us. The passion of the people of Naples fuels my fire to always play with my heart and soul. And the love for the badge is unwavering as I wear it with pride. The accusations against people of Naples are untrue. That that might be of the race, whatever.
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends that are this word is difficult. Napolitans, and have become part of my family and everyday life.
Yeah.
I appreciate Nigerians and everyone for leading their voices to support and reach out to me. I'm forever grateful. Let's support unity, respect, and understanding. Forza, Napoli, whatever.
Yeah.
That's just he's just telling you guys, hey, I love what you guys did, but I really like where I am.
Yeah, well, and the fans do love him. And like a small reference, and this is an American that was able to travel abroad for their honeymoon.
Yeah.
But we went to the beach town of Sorrento, which is neighboring Naples, just outside of it.
Yeah.
And Napoli banners all through the streets, cardboard cutouts of all the players, posters of Victor Osimhen everywhere. Like they love him.
As much as the club don't want to recognize, or I don't know if they want to recognize, but it seems that way, that he is the face of Napoli.
He is the face of Napoli.
He is the fans for the fans. He is the face of Napoli. And I was telling you a while ago about like the mask he has. It's become more of a brand than just a mask, because that's how I recognize. Every time I see that, I'm like, yeah, that's Napoli, that's Osimhen.
You're gonna see little kids walking around the stadiums with little face masks on, little protective face masks, because they're fans of him. I like that. And I will say this as well, like just back on it for 1 second. I don't think that the content in any of those videos anything in the video was racist. I think that what people were trying to say is that if Victor Osimhen was not Nigerian, would they have done the same thing? And that's a different conversation.
Yeah.
If Victor Osimhen had been white, or you said it as well, if it was Kvaratskhelia that missed the penalty,
they won't have
would
done it.
I agree
We don't know for sure.
I'm inclined to agree with you that they probably would not have done that.
We don't know for sure because it hasn't been tested.
Yeah.
But they won't have done it.
I
The reason is
agree.
the way they carry themselves towards Kvaratskhelia is different than how you can tell. I mean, just based on human interaction, you can tell. So.
It was like, and there were certain people that were talking about it the right way. You know, there were some people that were just like, you know, that racist video. It's like, well, okay, the video itself is not racist. Like the chipmunk voice of him like missing a penalty, that's just a stupid internet joke. I don't understand what it means, but it's not. But like the decision making to poke fun at that player, that could have potentially been racially fueled. If if he was a different race, maybe they didn't feel like they needed to make that. Like I'm willing to listen to that idea. I'm still not 100% on that because I'm not in the people that made its heads. I'm not thinking what they're thinking, so I don't know that. But there's more in that. But the people that were just like, well, it's a racist video. It's like, no. What in the video is there's nothing racist in the video. The decision making around it could have been informed through some sort of racial tendency.
That's why I said for me it's more of a 90-10 or even 85-15. The reason is because 85 is just the lack of maturity, the lack of responsibility, the lack of accountability, and just the overall, as a company, you cannot do stuff like that.
And it's obvious. Anyone in or out of sports, you understand. You just don't do that. You just don't do that. Period.
The 10% is the idea of being a little bit prejudiced. Would they have done it if it was another player that was potentially white? To be honest, I don't think they will have. But that's Italy for you guys. But in a sense, I wouldn't just say that was really blatant racism, right? Because we don't. It's not like they say, oh, they feed Osimhen bananas in the videos and had monkeys. That would have been a totally different thing. So there's not enough evidence of that being.
But basically calling him
go ahead.
Basically calling him a coconut head, calling him a doofus for missing a penalty. That's not.
Yeah.
But like I said though, and I stand by it. That's for a 9-year-old to make on social media.
Yeah.
That's a 9-year-old's level of sense of humor, but also that 9-year-old is not attached to the club. They have no responsibilities for the club. It's the lonely people that make memes making fun of athletes.
Yeah.
Instead of just watching the game and enjoying the game or critiquing the game. That's what we do. We critique, we analyze. But like spending your free time to mock players, people that you don't even know, there's a bit of loneliness there. So that's for these little social media cretins. That's not for your official club to do that for.
Yeah.
Let's move on from that. That's ridiculous.
The next thing will be, like I said before, I don't know. I like Ancelotti. He's one of the great, if not the good. But I feel like this team, and if there was a coach that they asked me, who would you pick for this current Madrid? And I would tell you, I would pick Zidane. Not because I think Zidane is the greatest coach. No, none of that. Just because I think the way that Real Madrid played under Zidane will be really good for these guys to play under Zidane, because of Madrid doesn't have a philosophy of playing essentially possession, hard possession or hardcore possession, or even a positional play. But one thing that you can see that these guys will be good at is how highly individual they are. Now, if you could associate that with some sort of positional play, with their individualism and the relationalism play, then this will be a potentially, this might be the greatest team in the next 2-3 years.
Yeah.
And adding to that, that's why I said Mbappe will fall right in the system, because players like Mbappe, you can't really put them in a certain play philosophy. It's a little bit like there's a lot of difference with Messi. But the thing, the if you watch Messi play, yes, of course he will make tiki-taka 1-2 or follow up, but he has the freedom to control the pace and the game, or to do as he wants depending on the moment. Now, on players that are highly possessional and playing in a position and an automated play, if you watch the game and you trace, you will see that it's a lot of triangle plays and repetition. So it's basically something that has happened before in another sense that keeps happening, be it a triangle, a diamond shape. But Madrid, as at the moment, with somebody like Mbappe or another coach, might be really dangerous.
Yeah.
So is the question becomes, Xabi Alonso, will he be the next coach? I watched Leipzig play. Those guys are crazy good.
Yeah, well, because the big conversation is between Xabi Alonso and Roberto De Zerbi.
Yeah.
Of who would be better for that system. And I think that they kind of have these different circumstances where De Zerbi is more experienced as a manager.
Yeah.
But he's not as experienced with dealing with large players, large locker rooms,
but big teams.
But then, and like big profile players. But then you really sit and you think. You look at this Real Madrid club, like you look at this roster. I'm not saying that they don't have good players or like world class or like big time players. Who's the big personality that he would have to worry about? They're young players. Like, I don't see Jude Bellingham, Camavinga, Tchouaméni, Valverde, Vinicius. Like, I don't see those guys throwing the big tantrums or like needing a high profile coach to keep these high profile players in line. Again, not saying the players aren't good, but you don't have those Ronaldos, those Messis, those, you know, like, they're not in there, so he shouldn't have to worry about needing to be frightening to them and intimidate them.
The best answer on the flip side of your question is different. Even though the players are not on that superstar level, it's different because first of all, it's Madrid. One of the greatest club, if not the best club ever in the world.
Yeah, definitely they are the best.
Right?
I think so.
The history, that's another level. This is not Brighton.
I guess I mean the egos of the players.
Now, coming to the egos, they have bigger contract.
Yeah.
And in this contract, it usually says more and want more from the player's view than a player at Brighton.
Yeah.
And if you, so the big tantrums of it will not be thrown, but things might not be like you want it to be. That's why when you have big teams, you bring in the big guys like people like Mourinho or Pep. People will tell the player, you're gonna sit down and never play again if you mess around. And I feel like he can do good.
He can he can do that if he wants to. I just don't see anyone in the squad that's going to make him have to do that. They seem like they're younger, they're more willing to do what's necessary.
They're more experienced.
But on the flip side, Xabi Alonso has less experience in coaching.
That is true.
But he has 4 league titles, respectively, between the teams that he played for, and 2 Champions League titles.
Yeah.
So if someone needed to come in and say, "Listen, motherfucker, this is who I am," like, Xabi Alonso can do that based on his accolades as a player and say, if you want to win what I've won, then, shut the fuck up. But I think De Zerbi has more experience getting the best out of players that are unexpected. And I do think that he is probably the better manager at this point.
Yeah.
In 5 years, it might be different. We don't know what happens.
The only thing I'm worrying about is he gonna be super. Is he gonna come with the high mentality of automating plays? Because Madrid doesn't. They do that partially, and also more of just being a player because you've been. It's like somebody being like you when you produce or editing. You've been doing that so much that you have your style.
Yeah.
But it's different from already having a preset thing that works. So it's like, hey, if this player is doing X move, I should do Y move.
Right.
Madrid doesn't have that in essence or defined as a philosophy of play, right? That would be the thing, because most of these players, when you look at them, although they've been to these academies, but they have some level of freedom of what they can do with the ball,
for good and bad.
Yeah,
and you've seen that this season already.
Yeah,
when they want to be more free and expressive, and it works, it really works.
Yeah,
when it doesn't quite work that well, you start seeing, and you've kind of seen it lately.
But teams
in La Liga as well.
But teams with like Brighton, Barcelona, even though the philosophy has changed a little bit, especially Brighton, I see Brighton playing more of like Barcelona of the past. That was highly possessional, highly attacking the space, highly, even when they do markings, it's more of a space marking, instead
moving
of zonal marking instead of like man marking.
Yep.
More of the time.
All 10 players are moving as one piece.
Even when they play a small of them. So that would be my only concern, because it will be difficult to implement that with big talents like you have Chouameni, you have Camavinga. These guys, they can do that, but I don't know if that would be the best of them. But he will do good.
Yeah.
Xavi Alonso might do good too, just because of player will respect him. Like Zidane didn't do good at Madrid because he was that good of a coach. Because first of all, the freedom, he let the players do whatever they want on the stadium.
He's just a legend. He's a legend.
He's a legend. So if he tells you it's not gonna work like that, it's not gonna work because he's done that. and everybody know it's like his resume is speak for himself. So we can explore those possibilities and see. I wonder who Real Madrid will pick, or they will stay with Ancelotti.
And he would just, have 2 jobs.
Yeah.
I don't know if he wants to do that. I don't know if I'd want to do that.
Yeah. And lately, Tony, this is a tremendous player, a great player. He's been linked to Man United. Man United. I call them Chester. If you hear me calling them Chester. Chelsea, Arsenal. What do you think would work best for him?
For Ivan Toney, I think it's pretty obvious, to me at least, and it's being unbiased, truly. Chelsea are very inconsistent. They're kind of a mess all over the place.
Yeah.
You have too much competition within the squad, but nobody playing at the level where it's obvious that they should really be the starter.
Yeah.
So you're kind of lost in a sea of 5 other people that are also kind of not playing that well. Manchester United, they could use another solid striker, but the issue is
they can have 2 strikers.
They could, but then you also have to look at it as a player and say most of their problems are really in the midfield and getting service to guys like Højlund, who is not playing badly. If he shows kind of a bright spark. So if I'm Ivan Toney, I'm thinking, I can perform as well as I want, but that doesn't mean that I'm even going to be able to get the ball.
Yeah.
Whereas Arsenal, it's obvious that they are missing a solid number 9. Nketiah is not a starting number 9 quality for the Premier League, especially for a top 6 team. He could start at a mid-table side, I think. He could start at
8. He won't be that.
Yeah.
Because you got Declan Rice doing the whole or the guy.
No. I mean like mid-table.
Mid-table.
As in like he would start mid-table for a Premier League team.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if he should be starting at a Big 6 club in the Premier League.
Yeah.
But that really is the only piece of the puzzle for Arsenal that's missing. The wings are solid when Martinelli and Trossard are fit. Odegaard and Declan Rice are very good at servicing the midfield and getting the ball up the field. They all move well together down the wings. Having a good finisher like an Ivan Toney or a Victor Osimhen, like that really is the piece of the puzzle that they are missing.
If I was Arsenal, I would have tried to poach for Victor Osimhen, just because of how efficient he is. And I mean, you're talking about somebody that scored 31 goals for Napoli last season.
Yeah.
So 31 goals and probably I don't know how many games he played, but the ratio might be just 0.7, 0.8, pretty high. It means with a lot of chances that Arsenal create, you want to have a guy that will convert at least like closely to third, or even at best all the chances, or 90% or 80%.
Yeah.
Because when you watch Arsenal play, they play very well, but conversion rate is really poor because on 8-10 opportunities, just one conversion or just two conversions.
Their issue is not producing chances.
Yeah,
it's just finishing
those
chances. That's really the issue.
So they need a solid 9. I'm not talking about a sporadic guy that will perform well today and tomorrow.
I mean, you can even look at the Bournemouth game. I mean, they finished 4-0, but there were at least 4 more chances that, in theory, could have been completed through someone with a better finish.
Yeah.
To me, it's kind of obvious where both of those guys, if they had to choose between those sides, where they would go.
Yeah. So this week, we had interesting matchups. Going to the side of La Liga, Barcelona, Sevilla. That was a tough game. Interesting enough, Lamine Yamal walked out of the locker room with Sergio Ramos in 2016, and he gets an assist from Lamine Yamal in 2023.
Yep, beautiful.
It's amazing.
Beautiful little toe poke for the goal from Ramos. That looked great.
That was a good goal, but I'm sorry for Ramos.
It was it was a hard fought game. They had to get that result.
Yeah,
they worked very hard to get that result, and it's funny because you have to ask, did that scoreline really reflect the quality of the game? That game could and should have been 4-0. They missed a lot of chances.
Sevilla too missed chances, and I would say this. Of course, Barcelona, the team is really young. They also a little bit they're not mature on that level yet.
Yeah,
but they also have to watch out, right? Because when I saw them playing, at least the bit I saw, there's still a lot to do. Because if you have teams that are highly efficient, they potentially will be losing to at least 2 goals. Yeah, because the way they played, they still have that little trouble, and they need to fix that. It's still a big thing.
Lewandowski had a very unlucky day.
So
he missed what? I think he truly just himself missed 3 to 4 very big chances.
Yeah, my question actually, I want to know, Lewandowski, is it what's the problem, or what's that thing that is stopping him from being that striker that we've seen in Bayern? Is it the fact that players at Barcelona don't play for the striker? B, is it the fact that they're a little bit selfish? Everyone wants to show what he can do.
Yeah.
And I think those 2 questions are valid. If you can fix that, then if you can answer that, it means you can fix what's wrong, because they have a good striker.
Yeah, and I think that both those points are correct. I mean, they're a little selfish. They're trying to do things for themselves to show that they can do that. But then also, in this game, Lewandowski was just kind of uncharacteristically unlucky.
Yeah,
he missed several chances that he would normally make, and for a few of those chances, the ball wasn't where it should have been if you were properly servicing the striker. He was maybe a step behind or a step too early on those moves. But then there were a couple as well where if he had 4 shots that he missed, I would say it was 50-50. 2 of them were because the ball was not put exactly where it should have been if you were servicing a striker, and the other 2 were just bad luck. It just wasn't his day, and that happens to every striker.
Yeah.
It was a noticeably unlucky day from him, for a game that would have really liked for him to have been consistent. Because like I said, the scoreline didn't quite reflect it. All those missed chances, and it with it ending 1-0, you really do wish that Lewandowski could have completed one of those, but it was just an off day. Yeah. But this was an unfortunate day to be off, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, when you watch the game, you feel like he doesn't have enough help, right? And you bring a striker of that caliber. It means you want to score, right? You want to produce goals. You want to demolish teams. And that's what he can do. I'm telling you, this guy once scored 5 goals in 9 minutes.
Yep.
So he can do it.
Yeah.
But how do you go about doing it? Do we play in a way where we service him, or do we try? Because what they do, how they play, it's not really working for Lewandowski. and you will see sometimes he will be slightly out of position or try to make these passes and stuff. But it's like he's still finding himself with.
Yeah.
I don't think he should be doing that at this stage because it's already 6-7 games into the season, and I think Xavi has to work on fixing that. But on the other side, Lamine Yamal is really a great player for 16 years old, and I try to compare most 16 years old that started at that age and been professional have not been successful at that age. I'm not talking about their career. I'm not talking about how
just that time
frame. Just that time
frame
have not been as successful as Lamine Yamal.
Yeah.
Because we had Mukoko in Dortmund. We had even Gavi at 16 wasn't that good.
Yeah.
And I think this is the most successful 16 years old ever in the history of football, and I'm happy to be wrong. And the guy is so mature for his age, and he's so composed for his age and the way he plays. But the one thing that I can say, he does too many extra touches, but overall he was really good in that game.
And it's absolutely ridiculous too, because you are right, for a 16-year-old, that's the most skilled 16-year-old, an effective 16-year-old. But this son of a bitch is so lucky too. He'll take an extra touch in a way that will make another player, like any other player, will pay for that mistake.
Yeah.
Or he, takes an extra touch, lets the defender get in front of him and tries to cross the ball, and instead of it hitting off the defender and the defender taking it immediately for a counter, it just bounces right back to Yamal.
Yeah.
And he gets to do it again. Like I've seen that several times this season where he'll make a mistake and it just lands right back at his feet. He knows exactly where to be, and when he does make a mistake, somehow it gets covered. I don't know.
That is true.
It's wild. And both teams played well, even in the attacking third.
Yes.
They just couldn't close down the game. And Sevilla were very, very fragile on set pieces.
Yeah.
Especially in corners. They just kind of sat back, and it wasn't a very good look from them in terms of being able to switch on and really be able to mark people through set pieces. Once we were in regular play, they did okay with building the ball up, but at the end of the day, the set pieces kind of bit of the ass a little bit. Madrid
and Girona, I think that was the best Madrid, or the most effective Madrid since the season has started.
Mm-hmm.
Especially that Girona has been doing really good, which is kind of crazy.
They were top 3.
I think that might be our underdogs in La Liga this season.
Well, in that first 15 minutes, it was a solid bit of business from them as well. They looked very good, and Madrid did not look like they were able to cope with it that much.
So Madrid has a problem of starting the games
very slow,
in the right mindset, right? They start very sluggish, very lazy. People don't run, people don't backtrack, and I don't think that will work against other teams, and that's why they've always find yourself having to do a comeback.
Yeah,
and most at the end of the game. So I don't think that's good. But in terms of efficiency, since Madrid has started playing this season, this was the most efficient. It means we're scoring early. We're not allowing to have to come back at the end of the game. So this Madrid was really good. Bellingham was awesome. One goal, an assist, and that Rivera, amazing. On the left side. I think he played 7 games or 8 games and scored 7 goals and 2 assists. That's a goal scoring machine. And put in mind, that's not his position. And so go ahead.
Tchouaméni had a bit of a sloppy game at times.
Yeah.
He was dispossessed a couple of times. He seemed to switch off at random times. There was a Girona cross in the first 2 minutes or so, and you're right. It seems like they have a slow get up process.
Yeah.
Where Tchouaméni just makes some kind of sloppy decisions and is not in good communication with his teammates.
Yeah. Because they play. I think he played a little bit defensive, which that's not. I don't think. But he had a goal, a header. Camavinga is so good.
He's so versatile.
He plays that left back he plays that left back really good. He plays better than was that Mendy? No,
Mendy and Vasquez is over there as well.
So I don't know, and he doesn't enjoy playing that position, which is tough. I don't know if Ancelotti will want to get another defensive midfield and let Camavinga play over there. But I don't know how happy will Camavinga be in the long term? Especially like he doesn't enjoy playing the position. He likes playing his defensive midfield.
Has he outwardly stated that?
I think back in the past.
Because
like I told you that last show, right? He could play any position at least 80% on that field, but he really doesn't like most of them. The only position that he really like is CDM or defensive midfielder, unless or attacking midfielder. But he's really comfortable. He really loves.
So do you think that Tchouaméni is not effective at CDM? Because
no, he's so effective there.
Okay.
The thing is that Real Madrid doesn't have anybody effective on the left side, on the left back.
Yeah.
That's the problem, right? And you could tell it was better than last game.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that the question becomes: are we leaving him there, or are we trying to? If I'm Real Madrid, am I trying to buy another left back that's really good there, so Camavinga can return to the post? Because Camavinga is good, but against players that are naturally good at beating left backs.
Yeah.
Where a left back have to be naturally or aware of or just a natural left back, he could be exposed. I think Bernardo Silva did that when they played.
Yeah.
So
I can see them trying to pick up somebody on the left, like someone like Tamayasu.
Yeah.
Because Tamayasu does not get, I think, enough playing time.
Yeah.
He usually gets subbed on, but I mean, I think that he's a starter somewhere.
Okay.
I think that
they can potentially do that.
So. I mean, but pretty straightforward over here. You know,
it's a pretty
3-0. David Alaba will not. He did not travel to Napoli.
Yeah, they also have a lot of injuries on their side.
They do have a lot.
Yeah. So, going to Bundesliga, I watch Leipzig. I watch a lot of highlights about them, but I never sat down to watch a real complete game. And I can tell you, Leipzig is a threat. They are doing what I expect Arsenal to do sometimes, but Arsenal fail at doing that, and I will explain what I'm saying by this. So if you watch Leipzig and Bayern, one thing that Bayern had trouble with is on the transitions, right? Leipzig was so fast on the transition. So as soon as we transition, we are getting up in the opponent's box, and we're trying to score. And
Limir had an awful game in trying to close down because they were flying down the wings ready for those quick counters, and Limir, the right back, was unable to cope with the pace of those transitions without a doubt.
And if you're gonna play and have players that are really fit, and you want to play, because even Xavi Alonso, his philosophy is possessional, right? He's not really the one thing that he's doing good, and a lot of ideas are just jamming in my head, is that he plays the positional game, but with the little knack of Liverpool, where in 2019, where we are extremely fast at executing once we have the ball. So we don't give the opponent to settle. We don't give them time to build the block. The third in your defense, try to set up the block. We don't let them do that, to that low block, and that's how they were really effective. I mean, the first half, Bayern didn't understand what was going on. They had to cope.
Well, and I'm looking at the halftime stats here. At 2-0 Leipzig up, Bayern really tried to sit on the ball. They had 64% possession, 3 shots with 1 on goal, and 305 passes.
Yeah.
Whereas despite Leipzig being up 2-0, only had 155 passes completed and 2 shots on target, and they both go in. Yeah. So like Bayern was really trying to take the momentum off of Leipzig, but as soon as they got the ball, you're right, boom, lightning fast. Bayern couldn't put 2 things together.
Yeah.
It really showed the lack of, and it's unfortunate because he's a very good center back, but you have a Pamecano who is quick but very easy to be pulled out of position.
Yeah.
And then you have Kim, who is not very quick, who is usually most effective because he knows exactly where he needs to be. Leipzig were so fast on those counters and those quick transitions, they kept getting Kim out of position, and he does not have the pace to come up. He does not have the pace to get back behind the ball. Once you're behind him, he's not catching back up to you. He's always most effective when he sits back deeper and knows exactly where to put himself.
For Bayern, they have to try to figure out how they really want the defense to be acting as. Do we want the defense to be that high or just in the middle? So
I think they've shown that it can't be that high.
Yeah, because
They
with
can't do
Leipzig,
that.
they were so high, and Leipzig didn't try to, hey, we're going to try to do extra touches. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Arsenal would do that and do extra touches and allowing the opponent team to settle on the low block.
Yeah.
Now, guess what? Now you're just going around doing passes from left to right, trying to open the game or create spaces. When you had all the spaces, if you had maximized or capitalized on the fact that they're still in your box.
Both of them, their two center halves are doing two completely different things, and they're really kind of harming each other's effectiveness. I think that Upamecano needs to be sitting back with Kim, and not running up and exploring, because he's not that good on the ball anyway. Like, you're letting him move up and do these things.
He moves so way too high.
And he gets always caught out of position. And all that does is highlight Kim's lack of pace.
Yeah.
So, if anything, have them sit back a little bit deeper. And you can have Upamecano sit higher than Kim. You don't have to have them at the exact same level. But he can't go up so high that the lack of pace is then hurt. Upamecano needs to be able to come back on the counter as well and be effective. And help Kim, rather than trying to help some sort of build up in the offense and then get bit in the ass when Kim is the last man there.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have he has the physicality, but if you have an extra 2 steps on him, you are leaving him behind.
Yeah. One Leipzig has an unusual formation. That was the first thing that just sparked my mind when I watched the 4-2-2-2. It's interesting. I'm still trying to understand how technical or tactical that works, but from what I've seen, with players like Schlager, Simon, Forsberg, Openda. Man, Openda is amazing.
Openda looked good. Yeah.
1 assist, 1 goal, and you had
and he's the perfect example of what I was saying of, like, he didn't have to muscle past Kim.
Yeah.
He just, like,
he found that space. He found every time he had space. He found spaces to drop into, and that's how Leipzig kept dropping all these balls. All these balls behind the line or in spaces when they were in transition. It was just easy.
Kim is very physical, but the only way that he could have dealt with Openda in that way is to drag him down for a red card, and he wasn't willing to do that. But he had an extra beat on him, and that's all he needs.
Schlager is really good on Leipzig. His ability to go forward and backtrack as soon as there's a counter attack, it's really amazing to me. I think I can see him leaving Leipzig in the next, if he continues to play at this level.
Yeah.
Xavi Simons, amazing player too.
Yeah, really young too, isn't he?
Yeah.
How old is he?
Probably 18.
Yeah.
So they have a great team. Forsberg, Schlager, Simons, all the people I see in this team, at least 5 or 6 of them. That is Forsberg, Openda, Simons, Schlager, 4. I feel like in the next 2 or 3 years, this will be big names and in big clubs. And
that's the issue with being a selling club as well. Is that, like,
you sell everyone, you become an Ajax.
They look like they look great, and like you're gonna have one more season of them looking good until they're picked apart by other clubs, and then but really fast, how bad is Bayern missing Manuel Neuer?
Yeah,
Ulrich had an awful game.
Neuer has to come back, but he had his game wasn't that great.
Awful decisions coming out on that corner. And then, I mean, he had, what was it? Leimer turned the ball over, and then they quickly recovered and sent it back to the keeper, and Ulrich sends it back out. I think he tries to stretch it out to Kimmich, and it's easily intercepted. And not only is it easily intercepted at the halfway line, Ulrich is way out of position, where they attempted to lob the ball over him, and he barely gets a foot on it to save it. It's like, good save, but why the fuck are you out that far?
Right, you can see day in and day out, or every week when they play, there's always have something that is gonna be detrimental to Bayern winning. So I think they should try to test out the second goalkeeper for once. Yeah. Another thing is Sané is really amazing. I think that's the best player as well. Sané, Musiala, but Sané was
that
really
combination.
Amazing. Yeah. It's very, very, very great. I think he was the man of the match, one goal. And Harry Kane has scored 8 goals in his first 6 Bundesliga appearances.
What more can you ask for? Aside from 9 goals, I guess.
Yeah. Only Haaland has done that in six games.
I think Sané, really fast on Sané, because it is kind of frustrating watching him play, because yes, he's very good on the ball. He's very good at holding up and letting the team kind of build around him. Mm-hmm. He's very lethal with quick passes and quick shots on target. And I know that he has these deeper curling finesse shots in him. I know that he has them. But he always sends them wide. Yeah. He has trouble finishing anywhere outside of the very close proximity on goal.
Yeah.
And because he's made those deeper shots before, it just seems like he has trouble keeping shots down.
Yeah.
They end up sailing a little bit too high. But he and Musiala together, Musiala is like, they can't get the ball off of him.
Yeah.
You can't.
The ball,
you can swarm him. Doesn't matter. Yeah.
And I like how composed he is. And even under pressure, he's not gonna.
As soon as he gets the ball, they swarm like 3 guys come out of nowhere, and it doesn't matter. Yeah. He's either going to get past you, or he's going to be able to somehow maintain possession with 3 of you stabbing at him like praying mantis, and laying the ball off to someone else. Like you cannot get the ball off of him.
Yeah, and Sané, one thing I really like about him is his ability to attack and create spaces every single time. So he's not scared to attack the box. That's what United is lacking, right? United lack players that will attack the box and keep being on the left or right side of the flanks and trying to cross every single time. That thing don't work, you know. Arsenal Bournemouth, that was a great game for Arsenal, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty overall domination. I'm not sure about Fabio Vieira on the wing. He gets subbed on for Saka kind of early on in the second half. He's not very effective there. He doesn't have the pace for that. He does have the dribbling skills on that side, and he is left-footed, so that I see why you want to put him over there. But I think that he has too good of an eye for vertical through ball passes.
Yeah.
He's not quite a horizontal player to be on the wing. He operates well at left midfield so far this season, but he kind of drifts more inside and creates more forward-minded passes rather than feeding the ball into the box from the side. Havertz finally got a goal.
Yeah, I think that was part. I liked how all the Arsenal team was trying to. Even the fans they were applauding. They're trying to build his confidence back.
And that looked like it was partially Martin Odegaard's decision as well.
Because Odegaard he's a great leader.
Yeah,
I can see from what I'm seeing. Right, he has that leader effect.
They had a moment like he and Havertz kind of embraced after the goal, and it kind of looked like Havertz was saying thank you for giving me that opportunity and doing the whole thing.
Odegaard, amazing player, 1 assist. He scored a penalty. I think he was the man of the game. But his ability to left, I say forward half or forward third, his ability to maintain that space on the right side or cover all of that space is really amazing to me. And one thing that I expected the coach to do is to take out Saka and Odegaard probably after 60 minutes, even 50 minutes, just because there's a Champions League coming. You don't want to overload this place. And I think Saka went out, he was limping.
He kind of came into it with a bit of a knock as well. They had said that there was they had confirmed it late, but this time last week it was kind of uncertain if Saka and Rice, they both kind of had like an ankle and then a back injury respectively, but they were both able to go out there. Speaking of Rice, can we agree that Declan Rice and James Maddison are the 2 best performing, consistent performing new signings in the Premier League this season so far?
Yeah, definitely.
They're by far the best to just hit the ground running very quickly, and every game
understand the system and
every game produce very, very well. They've not had a dry spell. Would they be 2 of the best 3 new signings in Europe overall?
Ooh, that I can't tell.
Yeah, we should. Let's do that.
Yeah, unless we have probably try to dissect that in the next segment, because we're still can at the beginning.
Yeah.
And this is actually a good time to tell what signing was really good and what didn't work.
You get a good picture of what's going on so far.
Like Mount wasn't a good signing.
But also, I mean, I don't think
Harvest wasn't a great signing, and now I think I want to defend that, but it wasn't.
He's gonna want to.
He don't work in that
Both
system.
of those guys, I don't think that they're as good of players as the signing to their new clubs would suggest. But also, Mount, like, he's going into a really bad, like, the whole team's not playing very well right now. So it's a Chelsea, it's like a diet Chelsea situation where, like, how can you really rate the performance of one player when all 11 are playing bad as a whole collectively?
Yeah, and it's weird because Chelsea they have the players, they have the numbers. So I think it's kind of difficult because we will have to dissect what's going on in the upper management, in the locker room, and the managerial space, meaning the directors and all of that, the coaching staff, to the players. Because you can't tell me you have the numbers, you have good young players, and you cannot produce, or at least.
I think that's the issue, though. Like with Chelsea, is like when all of your players are that young, who on the field is commanding things? Who is the senior player? What was it? Enzo Fernandez is the senior most midfield player, and he's been there still under a year.
How do you change a whole team in 1-2 years?
You spend $1 billion.
Good grief.
That's what you do.
That's a new team.
But that's what I'm saying, though. Like, look, talented players, yes. Young players, very much so. Those two things, when the entire squad is that young, that is not a good thing. If they're all that new and they're all that young, it's not like they came up through the academy where, as children, they're kind of learning the way of how the club operates and do. No, you're bringing these people in that have no frame of reference for each other.
Yeah.
They're absolute strangers to each other. And, like, it doesn't matter how talented you are. It's a team sport. If you don't have good communication, you're not winning. And I'm pretty sure that they did win against Fulham today. I saw it at halftime, and it was 2-0, which that gripes me to no end. But because it was almost a perfect weekend for me. The teams that
they won against Fulham.
What was the final?
2-0, like you.
2-0?
Yeah,
okay.
2-0.
Yeah, no.
Modric and Boha.
Yeah, it was almost a perfect weekend where, in this sport and in American college football, every team that I wanted to lose lost, and every team that I wanted to win won.
Well,
and Chelsea ruined that just now.
Well, one thing that ruined it for me is Colorado losing. You know, I'm a bandwagon guy.
Yeah.
So I'm a Colorado guy now. Prime
Major
time, baby.
bandwagon. It drives me nuts.
Oh, I love bandwagoning.
It drives me nuts.
On the what game did we have again? We had I watched Tottenham Liverpool.
Yeah,
that was
the big one.
Yeah. So this game has a lot of things going on. Tottenham played 12 against Liverpool that were 9 basically.
Yeah, and by 12, what do you? And I know what you're suggesting, but for the listeners, what are you 12, suggesting?
The 12th man on Tottenham side was the ref. The referee. I don't know if he was paid, but he sure did act like he was paid.
It seemed like yeah.
So,
his decision making would suggest that, but
it's
not certain.
Outrageous, awful, borderline, concerning.
criminal even.
Yeah, what went wrong? At least you can have 1 or 2 bad decisions, but not the entire game. And we live in the era of VAR, right? Why could you, on the offside that he called, why couldn't you just go back and watch it on the screen and be like, hey?
He did. I watched him do it.
Okay, he did. Right now,
and everybody clearly saw that he was onside.
And I know one reporter was saying something about, is it a reporter? Oh, I forgot what I heard, but he was saying something about I think they said the line. Or something in that.
Yeah,
that
he's trying
decision.
to say you have a slanted perspective from where the camera is, but I've seen them do that, like those little lateral parallel lines that they'll put.
Yeah.
And they didn't put those on there this time.
Oh, because they knew they were wrong.
Yeah, of course. And it's like, it's not even one of those where sometimes you do need that line.
Yeah.
Because you're looking at it from a slanted angle, and you know that, and you're not able to manipulate the plane to get a better view, so you do need that line. And this one, it just wasn't there. And it's not even up for debate he was onside.
He was onside.
As an organization, they released a statement saying it was the wrong call.
Yeah.
But they don't get that goal, do they?
No.
Not a chance. That's absolutely ridiculous. Like
fast.
The two talking points until that statement came out was the offside rule and then Curtis Jones's red card. You take one of those away as an obvious mistake. And some people are air quoting mistake because they think that it might have been intentional, the offside issue.
So Curtis Jones' red card wasn't. First of all, when he went to attack, you could see clearly he attacked the ball. The ball rolled over, passed under his leg, and the way it was portrayed was as if it was an attempt to harm. What was that on?
That was on Bissouma.
Bissouma, yeah, but it wasn't. And when the ball rolls over, he has this. Of course, his leg is going through just because the ball has rolled over. But there's not an intent to harm, so it couldn't be a red card. At least a yellow.
And here's the deciding factor, I think, because he does make contact with the ball. But yes, he does come in studs on the shin. He does do that, right? Mm-hmm. No one's refuting that. But it's not that the ball, his foot just rolled over the ball because he misjudged where he was putting his foot on the ball.
Yeah.
His foot rolled over because the ball suddenly stopped because Bissouma put his foot in to challenge for the ball as well. It was a 50-50 ball.
Yeah.
Jones was on the top of the ball, but he had the ball itself. Bissouma nudged the ball, which is what caused Jones' foot to go over. That's the deciding factor. You can't set a precedent where a player is scared of challenging for the ball based on how the other person's foot is going to come in against the ball itself. You obviously have to keep in mind that someone's foot's going to come in for a challenge, so you don't strike their foot. But if I put my foot on the ball, and then you kick the ball out of the way and put your foot where the ball was, and I step on your foot, that's not my fault. The only way to make sure that doesn't happen again is for me to never challenge you for the ball again, and then we have no fucking game.
Yes. The game went really well for Liverpool until Matip. I'm talking about the team as kind of, or the team as a whole or individually, until Matip scored that own goal. But it's crazy how they could hold on, even being 10 and 9 at the end against Tottenham. And Tottenham plays very well actually. But my question is that when have we not seen a version of Tottenham that plays really well but can win titles? How is this Tottenham different from previous Tottenham? Last year, the year before last, Tottenham still had a good level.
Yeah, what was it, 2018 or 2019? They finished second in the league. And like had a big point difference between them and City. But at the end of the day, Tottenham in second? What?
Yeah, so how is this Tottenham different from last Tottenham? Or from the previous Tottenham? Is this Tottenham, do they want to win? Are they hungry for winning? I'm not talking about winning games. I'm talking winning titles.
Yeah.
So
well, they seem much more consistent because even the other versions of Spurs, they were not that consistent. I think that having some, and it's not just James Maddison either.
Yeah, Maddison is really good.
I really see the triangle of the midfield of Maddison, Sarr, and Bissouma.
Yes.
The last two games especially, because I was critical of Sarr and Bissouma, but mostly Sarr, until the game against Arsenal. The last two games, that midfield have been outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. Yeah. And they're really creating a lot of interesting chances. Moving Son off the wing was major. Mm-hmm. He is a great finisher. I think he's a very underrated finisher, and he always has been.
He is at this point. Because last year, you had Kane, so it was different.
Yeah.
So, but now that he is just finishing, he's very clinical.
Well, and the reason that he was so ineffective last year, because he's a Golden Boot winner as well.
Yeah.
The reason he was so ineffective last year, if you really look at what Antonio Conte was doing, he was putting him on the left wing, but they were playing very wide. He was almost playing like a wing back.
Mm-hmm.
He was too far back to where he couldn't use his pace on the wings, which he's losing because he's getting older, and that's normal. But his finishing is ineffective on the wing. So we've had this conversation, creatively removing the issue of lack of space by putting him as a center forward.
Mm-hmm.
The ability to finish is not going to go away with age.
No.
I mean, you might lose a little bit of dexterity and some agility in the box, but your ability to finish is kind of permanent.
Yeah.
And having someone like Madison constantly feeding you in the ball in great spaces. He made some amazing passes.
Yeah.
It's not about Son's pace, and still to this day he has lost a bit of his speed. He's faster than the overwhelming majority of center backs, so that's not an issue. He can get in behind and create distance, no problem. But I do think that the momentum and the dirty work of Sarr and Basuma, and then the creativity of Madison, and putting Son up in the center forward position, and oddly, Richarlison on the left wing looks pretty nice.
Yes.
He's able to hold the ball pretty well and feed the ball back inside. His skill is not quite finishing. We learned that even from like his Everton days. But it seems like they're covering. Postecoglou is really putting people in the position where their absolute strengths are all that they are using.
Ange is doing a great job.
Yeah.
Porosa and Kulusevski, they really work well together, and you can tell because this game they had 38% attacking on that side. Yeah. And the right back Paul, he's amazing, very very talented back. What I want to see is Tottenham trying to compete for titles, not just winning games, not just being consistent because we gotta win these games. No, just also having that mindset. So that's kind of what I'm expecting them at least to do this year.
Well, it's baby steps too. They're still in the Carabao Cup, aren't they?
Yeah.
And it's really beneficial that City are not. So maybe that is their. I mean, and don't get me wrong. I mean, it's a known fact that the Carabao Cup only exists as a consolation prize for losing the FA Cup. The organization said that. They're like, this is another domestic cup for if you're out of the FA Cup. Here you go, and here's another opportunity. But I mean, hey man, it's still a trophy. But I mean, I could see them taking something like that home this season. That's not outlandish to say.
Liverpool has a little bit of slowness on transition, so it's interesting. But overall, this guy, Salah is really doing a good job on that. Yeah. In Gapco, the way Salah has modified and adapted to playing now in this season has been really amazing.
And Luis Diaz is a rock star.
Yeah,
he is really good.
I feel that if they had to replay this game on the basis of the ref not spoiling the game, this would have been a totally different game. Because if you take one person out at that stage of the game, you think about the morale of the players too, how you think about mentally too, how if they're still in the game or not. So all those factors plays in you winning the game against a team that has have one player taken off and another player, but that was normal. Yeah. And all these little factors plays. So I don't know how they would do if this game had been ref right.
But also Allison made some great saves. Like this could have been more than 2-1 if you're really looking at just like he laid out for two really big saves. And going back to it, because it slipped my mind until just now, one thing that might keep Tottenham from winning titles, I think that Romero has a few too many mistakes in him. I think that they need to figure out someone else to come in for him. Van de Ven has really done well lately. Yeah. He's really adapted strongly. Romero does seem like if you're going to concede a late goal or you're going to have a defensive weakness somewhere in the squad, it does feel like it's going to come from Romero. The rest of the club has been of the side has been playing well in the Arsenal and Liverpool matchups. Yeah. But if you look, Romero, both times, has either given away penalties for handball or has been out of position. It seems like he is the one that if the rest of the squad is going to elevate themselves to the next level, he might be the one that either needs to go, but it seems like he might be the one that could keep them back from being the best that they could be.
Okay. Well, we forgot to talk about this, but just talking about slightly the Negoya case. And this, for those not familiar with this case, it's I can read a little bit of this from this journal place. European football giant Barcelona were charged with an alleged bribery for payments reportedly worth more than 7 million to companies owned by former vice president of the technical committee of Referee City, Jose Maria Enriquez Negreira. So
hell of a name, by the way.
Yeah, he has a rock star name, but I don't know why he gets in trouble like that. But I guess the name really goes with that kind of trouble. That's what you want to get if you have that kind of name. It's like you can't have a Pablo Escobar and see you as an IT guy. That makes sense.
I'm sick, dude. You can't make me laugh like that. I'll start coughing and I can't stop.
You
That's
gotta
ridiculous.
have some sort of. You have to do outlandish stuff, like probably be the main point of entry or the main cocaine guy for the president or something like that. You can't just have Pablo Escobar and you're the mailman. Come on,
the mailman.
Yeah.
That's
so the question is, if Barcelona was found guilty and the ref involved in this case, are we opening every single game or every single case or games that Barcelona have played? The titles, are we putting all this in questions? Or what will become of all this? Because they say from 2001 to 2018.
Yeah.
That's a lot of years. That's essentially 17 years.
Yeah.
So
and that's what, 11 titles, wasn't it?
Yeah, 11 titles played. And how what's the remedy? Because obviously the punishment cannot be, you can't really take back titles. I don't know if you can do that, but if you do, are we gonna? That's 11 titles to take back. That's a lot.
That's been what they've been threatening Manchester City with.
Well, but they ain't gonna do that there.
No, I'm saying that's what, like, in theory. Yeah,
okay.
They would take those titles away.
Yeah, because they have the what 31 Copa del Rey in that amount of time. 31, yeah. So I don't know. Are we gonna see Barcelona in second division for relegation? What they did in Juventus in the late 90s, I think so, because of they were bribing referees. So.
Yeah,
and that is Barcelona gonna go bankrupt?
That's what I was like. I don't even think that it would be about going to the second division. I think that the club is kind of done at that point. Like they don't have the financial assets to really recover from that.
Yeah.
What happens there? Is someone else going to come in and pump a bunch of cash into it? And
another president they can pray for the Qataris or the Saudis to bail them out, so one of them can buy it, and I think they will. Buying a club like Barcelona,
if they have the opportunity, why wouldn't
they will buy it, because I think clubs like that try to maintain some level of owners from the place, so they don't really want to allow outsiders to take over, but you never know. So that's a case I want to follow, just because I want to see if what kind of punishment they will be getting, and if there is proof of found. Sevilla disassociated with Barcelona and everything this week, so they broke all contracts or whatever. So if they do that,
it's a mess. It's a nightmare. What a nightmare!
I know
they've had a really bad financial 4 years, 5 years.
I think Xavi, I'm paraphrasing. Xavi said something that I've never felt like we were privileged, or we were the referees were on our side. Yeah. If you were winning, what would you feel like that? Well, we don't know until this case goes.
And that's also the thing about rigging sports.
Yeah.
And the reason that things like the most rigged sport in the world has always been boxing, because there's 3 people in the decision, 2 fighters and a ref. Baseball, it's easier to encourage, that's an easier sport to rig. This is a very difficult one. You have to have at least 30 or 40 people in on the rig. That's difficult to do. So the whole point is that not everybody involved can know that this thing is. So if he's saying, I'm not even saying that he's wrong. If he's saying I don't feel like it was rigged, it's well, yeah, it's not supposed to feel that way. Because if it's too obvious, then everybody knows. But you've got to rig these things in a way that even the players, the people that are involved with it, don't quite know. You're not supposed to know.
Yeah. If they were found guilty, I know a club like Madrid will come hard on Barcelona in terms of all these games they've been losing against them in those years. Be like, hey, it means we didn't really lose the games. And it opened a can of worm, because now
we'll take those 11 titles from you.
Now
we'll take those.
And this is in a two-way, in the sense that teams that had lost to Barcelona will be asked, did they take some money to lose to Barcelona?
Yeah.
Or they will essentially have to show the ref committee that, hey, or those people or Barcelona, that we didn't really lose these games. If you guys bought the ref, it means most of the decisions that were taken at that time were essentially wrong. So that's a pretty interesting one.
Yeah.
And I was just happy that we don't know that it doesn't affect the Champions League, in the sense that
that's a whole other issue too.
Then we will have to put back in question all titles won by anyone in X amount of years. But yeah.
And there's not much more to that yet, and we'll follow up with that. That feels like a story that's going to be around for a minute.
Yeah.
It's just now getting into those early stages of development.
Yeah,
legally speaking.
This week we have Champions League and interesting matchups.
Yep.
And also, do you have a best 10?
Yeah, I do. Actually, I have a best 11, which I will I will have the one extra in there. Let's go ahead and rattle these off real quick.
All right.
So number 1, I have Inter Milan, consistently winning. They are doing what they need to do.
Did they win their game this?
Yeah, they won 2-0. Real Madrid number 2, City 3, Tottenham 4, Bayern 5, Barcelona 6, Arsenal 7, Leverkusen 8, Liverpool 9, Stuttgart 10, and then at number 11, because of their steady performances, I have Aston Villa coming up on the rise.
Aston Villa has been doing really great. But one team that we don't really talk much often about is Girona. Actually, I know they lost, but they're probably top 15, 20 in the conversation.
Yeah, that's what it's like. They're on a top list somewhere. It's maybe not top 10.
Yeah.
What do you got? Are you still doing 5, or are you gonna do 10 now?
I don't know if I want to do 10 because I don't write those things. I just come up with whatever is in my head. But I'll put Inter first too. I'll put Bayern second.
Okay.
Madrid third. I'll put City fourth.
Yeah.
I'll put Tottenham. Oh, this whole thing with Tottenham. But
that's why you write it down.
But what was it? It's fifth. I want to put Barcelona fifth.
Okay. So not Union Berlin.
No, never.
Okay.
Sixth will be Paris Saint-Germain, just because they've been like.
God.
7.
They've been what? Almost mid-table. Okay, whatever.
Seven will be Madrid. 8 will be Leipzig. 9 will be 8-9. Aston Villa, can go for Aston Villa.
There you go.
10 will be Atletico Madrid. And if I wanted to add an 11 like you, that would be West Ham.
Top 6, right?
They're still gonna finish top 6.
Yeah, top 6.
Well, what are we talking about?
Beautiful. No, yeah. Anyway, all right. And yes, so we will be covering largely the Champions League week for an episode to be released on Friday. The 2 matches that we will highlight, so the viewers can we have certain spotlight matches. We'll loftily talk about the other matches as well. But the 2 big ones are Napoli versus Real Madrid. And Leipzig versus Manchester City. Those are the 2 big matches that we'll be discussing later this week.
Also, go and subscribe on all our social media platforms, including TikTok, Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Subscribe on our YouTube and turn on the bell notification.
And listen to me, okay? Just listen really quick. The fucking Spotify star reviews.
Yeah.
Give them. Sorry.
Spotify too. I forgot.
I don't mean
Spotify.
So yelling does not accomplish much.
Yeah.
And I understand this. And my anger issues are resolving themselves the older that I get. But listen to me, everybody. Okay, I'm doing the best that I can here. Give us that star review.
All the links will be in our description.
Goodbye. Star review.